What up? This is Coach Liebs bringing you episode 10 of Coach Talk. It's Friday, and I want to continue the conversation that we started yesterday. I was talking a lot about poise and training the way you talk to yourself. I think that's very important, and I want to take it one step further and try to offer some practical advice before we get into some things at the end of the show. So to me, I think it's important when you're training the way you talk to yourself, you're training poise. It's important to break down what exactly you're trying to improve and what you're training. And to me, I think it all starts with training your perception, the way you react to your circumstances. So a great coach once told me that you don't ever feel an emotion. You choose the way you respond to your circumstances, and that determines your emotions. And I think, and the more you can gain control of that here's your circumstance, here's the situation that's put in front of you. Now you choose that the way you view that and the way you respond to that and the emotion you feel to that, and that is your perception defined, and that's what you're trying to gain control of. And I think that in training your perceptions, what you have to realize is that the reason why killing yourself in the offseason and making every offseason workout as grueling as possible, the reason why it's so important to maintain competitiveness in practice, to push your limits in practice, is because you're training your brain, and you're trying to train the part of your brain that promotes greatness and motivates you to do more, and you're trying to eliminate the part of your brain that promotes complacency. And I think that it's a very important thing that you're building habits day in and day out. Right? The more that you choose to push your limits and not give in to fatigue and not give in to negative talk, and the more you decide to do more and work harder and find a new way and improve your craft even further, you're constantly pressing a button in your brain that motivates you and inspires you. Whereas on the opposite end, when you decide that it's okay to do one less sprint, you decide it's okay not to finish, you decide that it's okay not to bring your most energy, and you give into complacency, then you're feeding into the negative button that allows you to be lazy, allows you to do less. And just like anything else, you're building habits of pushing that button in your brain that motivates you to do more. And that's your perception. I think it's something that when adversity hits you, it's important to take a deep breath, think about this concept, and push the right button and look at something as a positive, or don't let it ruin your day. Move on from it and just keep pushing, keep acting, keep creating, like I was saying before. But I think it's just important to be conscious about training your dialogue to be aggressively positive. Like it's constantly feeding into that aggressive wolf, that good wolf that we were talking about yesterday in the two wolves story. And there's just, doing this now when the big moments occur in a game, when the high pressure situations occur, training this way and constantly pushing that positive button and constantly pushing those limits and never giving in to the complacency, you've now trained your perceptions and you've mastered your perceptions if you're able to do that. So now when you get to the big moments of a game, you're not going to feel the nervousness. You're not going to feel the pressure. All you're going to do is take a deep breath and execute your job, because you've trained yourself to think under these circumstances. You've trained yourself to stretch your limits, and you're well prepared for this. So I think that the faster that you can gain control of that conversation in your head, the faster you'll be able to develop poise. And that's really the end game. Is poise is the refusal to acknowledge setbacks, the refusal to acknowledge the distractions or the circumstance or the pressure or whatever it might be that is there to distract you. Poise is the ability to lock in on your job, despite all of that. And poise is the ability, it's the mindset as well. An aggressive poise that you need in football is the mindset where failure is not an option. And when you decide to do something, when you decide to accomplish a goal, there's no reason to panic or worry, because as a man, once you've decided to do something, you've put your mind to it. Now, you're never going to stop going down that path till you achieve that goal. And if that's the case, then there's no reason to worry. There's no reason to become impatient. Now it's just up to you to will yourself and find a way to get there and exhaust all options to accomplish that goal. And if you can do that and you take care of your end as far as the effort and the attitude is concerned, once you put your mind to something, it's just now you're going on a journey until you get there. Failure is not an option. Failure is not a thing. It's just a stepping stone on your path to your goal. So I think, talking about that, training your perceptions, the way you view every obstacle as not adversity, not something negative, but as an opportunity to test your toughness, to test your positivity and test your ability to have poise. Every single obstacle is a test that's here to make you better. So I think when you gain control of that conversation, and that's the way that you perceive the world, you're able to accomplish anything from there. And there's nothing that can stop you but your own voice. There's nothing that can slow you down but you doubting yourself. Coach Campanelli always used to say deafness to doubt. And that you're deaf to doubt, that what really makes somebody great is not their skill or their talent, but it's their ability to continue persisting no matter, what's put in front of them. And they never, give in to doubt where they're slowing down or stopping, going down the journey to their destiny. So again, perception, I think, is extremely important. I think now more practical advice on the football field is when there is doubt, or when you do drop a pass, or when something bad does happen and maybe you're a little unsure of yourself on the football field, I always tell my players to lose themselves in your technique. So especially at receiver, right? It's easy. Maybe you go a whole game and the ball has been thrown to you. Or maybe, the ball's thrown to you twice and you drop the ball. And it's easy to have doubt in everything you do. Or, maybe you miss a few blocks. Whatever it is, eliminate that by getting lost in your technique. And rather than worrying about, is the ball going to come to me? Am I going to make a mistake? Just lock into what your job is. Break the huddle, get to the line of scrimmage, see the defense in front of you, talk to yourself about what your route is, how your route is going to change, against a specific coverage, and then lose yourself in the technique of making that route the best route it could ever be. And that is the best route you can possibly run in that moment. And when you lose yourself in that process, all of a sudden you stop thinking about everything else that doesn't matter, because ultimately that is doing your job. You almost want to block out the circumstances of the game. You have to be aware of them enough to understand how your job may change, how your job is different in the red zone than it is on the 50-yard line, how things might change on third down versus first down. But otherwise, block all that out. Block the score out, block the crowd noise out, and just lose yourself in the technique of your craft. And talk yourself through every detail that you've been coached every day in practice. That's why we were talking the other day, why it's so important to coach in buzzwords and for players to think in buzzwords, because you can lose yourself in those terms that create pictures in your head, allow yourself to build a strategy. And if your strategy is not great, on one play, then you lose yourself in the process of improving that strategy. Don't worry about all the other crap you can't control. And when we focus only on what is in our power, that enhances and magnifies our power. That's a quote by Ryan Holiday, who wrote the book, The Obstacle is the Way. But when we focus only on what is in our power, that by doing that enhances and magnifies our own power. So, I think that's the message for the day. Just training your perceptions, continuing to have poise, and understanding the practical ways to build poise. I think I don't really want to just give you guys vague concepts and say, all right, go have poise. Like it's not that easy. But I think here's a really practical way and a practical mindset for you to try to work on day in and day out. So that's it for Coach Talk. I got a quick Sideline Hustle note. A friend of mine reached out to me about this cool company who wanted to do work with us, really liked our product, and just wanted to, knew we had a pulse of the players and coaches, and wanted to, give us a free sample of their product and just tell you guys about it and give my honest opinion. So it's a visor guard. Okay. They sent us, it's basically a screen protector for your visor. I've heard it explained in a lot more complicated ways, trying to do some research on it. But essentially, it's a screen protector for your visor. Anyone who's ever worn a visor in football knows how scratched up they get, knows how hard it is to see when they get scratched up. So rather than having to buy, 2 visors a year for $50-$60 a piece, you can buy the visor guard packet. It comes with two basically screen protectors and a liquid to put on. It's super easy. You put it on, it takes 24 hours to dissolve. But just thought that this is like a, kind of a helpful product for you guys. I'll have the link in my bio for a little bit. It's just always a helpful product for players that, like, if you wear a visor and have trouble with getting it scratched, you can spend $20 on visor guard and save yourself some money. And, I'm not really here to promote things I don't believe in. I just think this is a practical idea that could be useful for you guys. And I'm just here to, really my goal is to provide value to the audience and continue to entertain you guys and educate you on all my experiences and all that. So visor guard, check it out if you're interested, if you wear a visor. That's it. This is Coach Liebs bringing you episode 10 of Coach Talk. I will see you guys next week. Enjoy the weekend. Peace.